Hi, everyone. Well, you probably have heard us mention now a handful of times in our services that we look at this coming Sunday as being a come home Sunday. And why do we call it come home? It's because we recognize that for the last 15 to 16 months, many of our people haven't been able to come for one reason or another. And it's kept the church apart. It's like having that family gathering where some of the family is finally able to come. And as a result, everybody makes sure to be there because they don't want to miss the rare occasion of us all being together. And I feel like this summer and the months ahead are going to be like that. And in particular, this coming Sunday with Sunday in the parking lot here, is that I believe many are going to be here we haven't seen in a long time. And as a result, I hope that others will make sure that they're here and not missing the Sunday because they want to make sure and see their family that they haven't seen for a long time. One of the concerns I've had as a pastor going into this season is how are we going to all treat each other when there's a return? And I've mentioned at different points, even within our weekly videos and in our Sunday sermons. But I want to take a look at just a potential spirit that could happen that I want to make sure that we call into check now. And this is coming from the parable of the prodigal son. Now, most of the time we focus in on either the father or the prodigal son themselves. And honestly, this parable is shared to help us understand the father. That's the whole focus of this parable. It's not the sons, it's the father, how he handles a son who has squandered everything, the wealth, his identity, and is at the rock bottom, that he decides he's better off being a slave in his own father's household, so he returns. How is the father going to respond to this? Is he going to shame him for all the things he's done, or is he going to welcome him back? But today I want to take a look at the older brother, because this brother never left. He stayed with the father and honored his roles and duties. And he has a unique response to the return of his brother that I would like to look at today. So I'm not going to read the first part about the prodigal son when he asks for his inheritance and goes off. I'm going to pick up when he returns. So verse 20 in Luke chapter 15. So the prodigal son, he got up and went to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. The son said to him, "Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son." But the father said to his servants, "Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate. For the son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." So they began to celebrate. Meanwhile, the older son was in the field. When he came near the house, he heard music and dancing. So he called one of the servants and asked him what was going on. "Your brother has come," he replied, "and your father has killed the fattened calf because he has him back safe and sound." The older brother became angry and refused to go in. So his father went out and pleaded with him. But he answered his father, "Look, all these years I've been slaving for you, never disobeyed your orders. Yet you never gave me a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours who has squandered your property with prostitutes has come home, you killed the fattened calf for him?" "My son," the father said, "you have always been with me, and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad, because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." So, again, the champion of this, or the hero of this story, is the father. A son that ran away, blew all he had been given to serve his own pleasures, finally comes to an awareness that this was a stupid decision and a stupid path, and realizes that I need to go back to my father. the Father welcomes him back. In fact, that putting on the ring on his finger is a sign of sonship. He has regained his identity as a son. And so thank God that he is that way, that he is that Father, that regardless of the stupid things we might have done in our lives, God welcomes us back when we repent and recognize that we have been going the wrong way. But then there's that other brother, the one who stayed, the one who did not disobey, the one who did not squander, the one who made wise decisions. When this brother of his returned, the fact that he was celebrated, he got jealous. Because why wasn't that he wasn't celebrated for all his years of faithfulness? And the reality is, as the Father said, yes, you've been with me from the beginning. As a result, all this is yours. All this is yours. That wasn't the case for the other brother who had squandered. He wasn't going to be given the right of firstborn to oversee the inheritance. Now that was lost. So everything was going to be of this other brother. But in this, he lost sight of the fact, your brother's come home. And that's what the Father was looking at, is a wise decision has happened. The long-lost kid is finally back, and we should celebrate that. So as I look at it, I think as people begin to return back to church, it's going to be very easy to sit in our seats and think, well, I haven't seen them for over a year, and begin to size them up, to think poorly of them. And then when you see somebody excited about them being back, you'd be like, well, why didn't you treat me that way? I've been here the whole time. I think it's very easy to capture within our hearts the idea of being that older brother that doesn't delight in a return. And we can be completely off on our judgment of somebody's not having been here for over the past year. I know people that have been caring for somebody else, and out of respect for the care of somebody else, have been very careful. So would we judge them for being considerate of somebody else? Others of people have, physical issues that they've never shared with anybody. Yes, there are some who maybe have chosen fear out of a reason to stay home, and maybe that's not healthy for them, and likely not. But if they actually show courage and come, should we not welcome them as a favorite son? And so I think what we need to do is capture the heart of the Father in the story. And when we see people we haven't seen for a long time, withhold judgment, but offer a greeting, offer a welcome, offer an embrace of, we are so glad to see you. And so in these days ahead, as people begin to realize they haven't been at church and they need to re-engage that healthy pattern of their life, let's be that welcoming church that is welcoming in the same way that the Father is welcoming of us when we return to Him. Because it's His heart we admire, and therefore leads us to follow His model. So I, for one, will be glad to welcome each and every person who hasn't been here for months and say, we are so glad to have you back. Would you join me in being that welcoming family? And would you be willing to come back? Regardless of where you sit, the church is our family, and that is where we're to be. We're better together. And so for that, we do say, come home. Enjoy the rest of this day. May this perk your heart in such a way that says, I hope people return.